There's going to be a lot of tea spilled in this episode and a lot of shit talking. So buckle up because this is another episode of Terrorvision with Justin and
Oh, I
Alex.
was doing the Michael Myers breathing.
I couldn't even hear it.
You couldn't hear it.
So it just sounded just nothing but quiet. I just had to fill you in.
Yeah, I can hear that. Oh man. Well, I don't know if they haven't guessed for our Halloween special. We're taking a look at the. Okay, I was gonna say one and only Halloween, but there's like four that are named just Halloween. So we're looking at Halloween.
So for the viewers listening, about the time that you'll be listening to this episode, we're already around the Halloween time. So, yes, today and foremost is our first Halloween special. So, clap, clap, yay!
Woo!
Terrorvision's first special. So, yes, this is the Halloween special, and as you heard from me and Alex, we are going to be reviewing the 1978 Halloween, but here's an extra bonus for this special. We are also going to be reviewing the 2018 Halloween as well. So
Yep,
we
it's
got
a
a
two. It's a 2-in-1.
2-in-1 for this special for y'all fucks.
Well, but let's not get them too excited, Justin, because I'm gonna be so real. Those movies were ass. That was not.
That's the special. That's it. Tune in
That's
next
it.
time.
Anyways, thanks for watching.
Oh my lord, dude. I was so out of context right now. Me and Alex tried to cram both movies in like a not even less than a week,
Like
and
over the weekend.
we got confused on like communication because he wanted to do the 1978 version, and he was telling me like how boring this fucking movie was. And I was like, well, then
So
let's just do
boring.
2018. So I started watching 2018, but still wanted to review 78. And I was like, oh shit, I already watched 18. So we came with the conclusion of, why don't we just do
We'll
fucking
just do
both?
both. We'll just do both.
But
Well, and like that's what happens when you have two movies both named Halloween. Like, and I had to look up like the timeline of the 2018 one because I knew there were like 30 fucking Halloween movies, and I was like, okay, well, like we need to figure out which ones actually happened and which ones they were just like, no, Michael Myers in space didn't happen, guys. Don't worry about that. Like,
well, as far as I know, is that after the 1978 version, the 2018 Halloween
yeah,
takes place 40 years later after the events
yeah,
of the first one. And pretty
it
much
disregards all the
the
sequels.
director said, fuck everything else. Fuck Halloween 2, 3, H2O, whatever the other one was. It was something about like the witches I don't fucking know. I haven't seen any of
Oh,
them.
Season of the Witch.
Season of the Witch. He was like, fuck all those ones. We're just gonna stick to the plot of the first one and just take it 40 years later, where Laurie Strode is mentally still fucked up after the tragic accidents, or not accidents, killings that happened,
Tragic.
very tragic trauma events that happened in her life.
Okay. Tragic was a bit strong. Very tragic is a little too strong. He strangled like 3 people. Okay, let's calm down, you guys. It's not that deep.
It's
Let's jump into it, man. Let's jump into
so
78, the
nine,
classic John Carpenter.
yeah. So 1978 Halloween is a horror crime. It's an hour and 31 minutes. Director, the one and only John Carpenter. Didn't he do the soundtrack as well?
The soundtrack. Oh, I wouldn't know about
Like
that.
the
Let me see.
music. I believe he did, but director's John Carpenter. Um, Rotten Tomatoes. You're gonna laugh at these reviews, okay? For the 1978 version, Rotten Tomato gave Halloween 1978 a 98%, and IMDb gave it a 7.7 out of 10.
See, I I get it, right? Like this was one of the first like slasher movies that came out. Um but it's boring. It's I'm sorry, it's boring. The effects are bad. And yeah, like you can make the argument that it was 78, like, special effects weren't that great. But The Exorcist and Texas Chainsaw Massacre both came out years before this movie. And those both had far better special effects and horror elements and gore and like so I don't know. I feel like this movie doesn't have any excuse for being as boring and anticlimactic as I feel like it was.
Well, see, the thing is that speaking of the thing, to
That's a good one. Yeah, another good
um,
John Carpenter
yeah, I
movie.
was gonna say John Carpenter did the thing, which was a
Hmm.
year after. Oh no, not a year after. This came out in '78, so a few years after Halloween. And the special effects and the practical, like all the makeup and just everything about that movie was fucking phenomenal. Why couldn't he do
Infinitely
this
better.
for the '78 Halloween? Like where was those elements back then?
Yeah.
But
I said it earlier, but like these movie, the '78 Halloween and the 2018 Halloween really felt like parodies of the slasher genre. Like I was supposed to laugh at them instead of with them, I guess, if that
yeah,
makes sense. Also, I'm sorry, side note, just because I'm on the IMDb page for Halloween '78. Laurie's the main character. Laurie's father is named Peter Griffith. I just saw that. I think that's
right,
amusing as all hell. That's my favorite part of the Halloween movies now. So
Family Guy connection.
Peter Peter Griffin confirmed.
Peter Griffin went back in time into
Um,
'78.
yeah. Well, let me jump into it because I mean, 1978 Halloween. It's an old movie, so here's your spoiler warning if you haven't seen it. The movie essentially follows Laurie Strode, teenage Jamie Lee Curtis, and she's just a babysitter, your typical high school teenager. And this insane serial killer, Michael Myers, escapes prison basically and starts stalking her. I guess that's more or less it. Um, I don't want to be entirely negative, so I want to start off with the things that I liked about this movie because there were things that I liked about this movie. I liked the opening intro scene because the movie opens on a POV shot of Michael Myers as he kills his first victim and he stabs her to death.
His sister
And then the
Judith.
scene, his sister Judith, but then the scene ends with them, like him walking out to the street and his parents show up and they're like, Michael, like what's going on? And they take off the mask and it jumps to a third person shot where we're not seeing it through his eyes anymore, and it's revealed that Michael was like 6 when he killed his sister. And that scene, I will say, when I watched that, I was like, oh shit, like that's actually really fucking cool. I think that's a really cool idea,
Yeah.
and I really liked that. So yeah, the movie opens with Michael 6 years old. He kills his sister, and essentially he goes to prison for the next, I don't know, like 20 years. And that's when the movie takes place, as he escapes and he just starts killing people again. And he focuses on Lori in particular because I forget why she was there, but she went to his old house where he killed his sister, and like he escaped, and he like went there. I don't know. He escaped, and the first thing he did was go to the house, and he saw Lori snooping about the balcony, and so he was like, "Oh, she's got to die."
She went to my
That's
house,
my
she has to
interpretation,
die.
at least. I'm gonna be so fucking honest. Not a single goddamn thing happens for the next hour and a half. Not a
That's
single
probably the
fucking
point where I
thing.
started falling asleep last night, because I will also add that
Yeah,
I didn't finish this movie fully. I only watched half of it, and I was trying to cram it last night. Yeah, I only watched like 40 minutes of it, and I fell asleep.
yeah, no, dude, not a single damn thing happens for most of the movie, which it kind of has the same issue that I feel like monster movies, in particular like the legendary Godzilla Kong movies have, which is that when I go into these movies, like let's take the monster movies for example, what I'm there for is to see Godzilla and Kong fuck shit up. I want to watch them on screen completely destroying shit, and that's what I'm there for. But when I'd say 80% of the movie is the human military, like, talking about what to do and Millie Bobby Brown off doing whatever the fuck her side plot was, like, you lose me. I don't give a fuck about any of that shit. I don't give a fuck about the humans or their plot. I'm here for the monsters. I'm here for Godzilla and Kong. And that's how I felt here with Halloween. I'm here for Michael Myers. I'm here to watch him butcher a couple of kids. I'm not here to watch Lori and her fucking best friend fucking gossip and talk about guys and fucking people all day until the last 15 minutes. Like, you lose me then, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. But anyways, nothing happens for most of the movie, and then Michael kind of stalks her around, and there's some decent shots here and there. Like, I don't know. I feel like most of it was very surface level. Like, it's like, yeah, seeing a guy in a mask looking at you through your window would be creepy, guys. Good good fucking job. I don't know. Anyways, end of the movie, Michael ends up killing like her best friend and then her best friend's boyfriend, and then he tries to kill Lori and she kind of fights back a little, and some of that is cool. Like, she stabs him in the eye with a coat hanger, which I thought was really cool, and some of those scenes were decent.
I gotta add real quick.
And
one of the scenes that
Go
made me
ahead.
laugh when I started watching it is when Lori was walking down the sidewalk and just starts singing like "Just the two of us." I was all like, "This is so out of pocket,"
Yeah,
and I guess it was made up because
little on
I
the
was
nose.
looking like for more background information about that scene. I'm like, why the fuck is she singing that song in particular? And I guess John Carpenter just told her during that scene in the film making was just like, make up whatever song just to sing to yourself as you walk. And then that's the song that you... I know,
It's a
right?
very ironic
Just the
song.
two of us.
Just the two of us. We could make it if we tried. Yeah, it's a great song. But no, man, I don't know. Like, her fighting back was kind of cool. I'm going to dive into the side plot real quick. Just real quick. There's a psychiatrist named Dr. Loomis, who is Michael Myers' psychiatrist, obviously. And he takes up so much of the movie, and he does absolutely fuck all. He spends the entire movie going up to the cops and being like, he's pure evil. He is evil incarnate. I've spent my entire life studying him. There is nothing in the world more evil than him. He is literally the devil. And and then and that's it. That's all he's
Literally,
there for.
he has done like absolute jack shit in this
it's
film. And one scene I want to point out too is
yeah,
when he
yeah.
was searching by the truck on the side of the road off like the interstate there. I was like, how did you not find the dead body and the short foot of grass that's like right next to you? I was just
Yeah.
so
No,
he
I,
just
I
did
just
like absolutely like jack all in this movie besides complain about how evil this masked man is, and it was just kind of
yeah.
ridiculous.
And it would have worked if we actually got to see Michael do some like evil shit. But I think the worst thing he does is he like, I don't know, he strangles a chick and he like stabs her boyfriend, which like I don't even think we get to see him stab the boyfriend, if I recall. I think
Didn't
we
he
just see his
stab?
body like, or no, I think, you know what? No, we do see him stab the
I
boyfriend.
was gonna
That's in the
say, didn't he
2018 one I'm thinking
stab
of.
somebody like
Um,
and kind of like pinned him like on the wall, like kind of like hung him there with a knife? Yeah,
yeah.
no,
That
I
was the
actually
boyfriend.
admire that scene because
Yeah,
that scene in Halloween is pretty iconic, like that kill.
that again, that was a decent kill, but that's the worst that it gets. And that kill alone is not enough for me to be like, oh, he's fucking evil. Like, that description I feel like better fits like Art the Clown from Terrifier. You know, like that's a villain that like, yeah, a character flipping out over him like being free makes sense. But Michael Myers, it's just like, I don't know, guys, let's round up the SWAT team and put a bullet in his head. Shouldn't be that hard, really. Anyways, Loomis does nothing. He shows up at the very end because he just so happened to be snooping around Lori's house, and she's screaming, and she's like, "Ah, there's a guy, help me!" And yeah, so Loomis busts in, and he shoots Michael, and he falls off a balcony, and they're like, "Ah, it's over," and they go look over the balcony, and
It
he's
just
gone.
disappears.
That's pretty much
Not
it. It's pretty much it. I don't know. I really wanted to like this movie, but the effects were trash. Like it was very, and I feel like even for its time, like again, Exorcist and Chainsaw Massacre both came out years before this, and their effects were miles better. This movie's blood effects and stabbings were just so vanilla, like to the point where some of them looked like he was using just like a
Yeah.
push knife. You know what I mean? Where like it goes into the hilt, and like they were just like just act like you're stabbing him, and that was it.
Well, even the pacing of this movie was just like not the best. It was very slow, and if it's slow enough to make me sleep, then that's pretty bad.
You're a big horror movie guy, yeah. So like that's I don't know, but the thing is that again, not a single goddamn thing happens between like 10 minutes in and 15 minutes before it ends. The first 10 minutes, it's cool. We get to see Michael Myers as a kid do his first kill. Like that's a really shocking ending to the scene. That's cool. The last, I don't know, 15 minutes, some good struggling between Laurie and Michael. We get some good, a couple good killings, but that hour and a half in between, not a single fucking thing happens. It is the most boring shit I have
I
ever
remember
watched in
you
my entire
texting me
life.
that night, and you were
I
like,
just,
"God
I
damn,
don't.
I don't know how long I could take
We
this."
were checking the clock every 5 minutes. We would watch the movie for what felt like half an hour and check the time, and only like 5 minutes had passed. It was
Yeah.
ridiculously slow. Okay, that's all I've got to say. I don't want to rag on this movie too hard because I know a lot of people really like it, and it's considered a classic somehow.
I mean, I'll just throw in and just say this movie is a classic, but it's not the best classic in my opinion. And as much as I
No.
love classic horror, and as much as I love Michael Myers as a like antagonist like character in a horror series, just I
Mhm.
don't this classic just didn't catch me too much. It was yeah. Everything we just pointed out is just pretty much just sums up of my feelings for the movie too. So
I I might just have an issue with Michael Myers. And I'll get into it a little bit more with the 2018 version because it was way my issue with him was way more egregious in the 2018 version. But my issue boils down to him being the most incapable, easily stopped horror villain of all time, and no one can do anything about it. Like I'll touch on it when we get to 2018, but he walks at a snail's pace. He does not chase anyone. Not once in either of these movies does he move beyond a light jaunt, if you will. Like not once does he
Michael's
ever
just
move
built
faster.
different, you
I
know.
I guess.
He's just that fucking cool that he
I
just
guess.
doesn't need to rush things. He's just like I got all the fucking time in the world.
I
Nobody can
guess.
fucking stop me. And literally nobody can.
That's the thing is he knows. Yeah, he knows he's in a horror movie. He knows that the chick is gonna slip and fall, and he's got all the fucking time in the world to just stock up on her. I don't know. Well, let's jump into 2018 because I've
Well,
said all I need to say about
what's
78. Man,
what
that
would you
was
give your Terrorvision rating on 1978?
oh man. Okay, well, so I think if I'm rating it for its time, okay, the two things that I think give it a little bit of slack on my criticisms are that A, it was made in 1978, and B, it was probably low budget. Let me look up what its budget
Yeah, I was gonna
was.
say it seemed like a pretty
Three
yeah.
$300,000 was its budget. So yeah, for its budget and for its time, considering those things, I would give it a 6 out of 10. 6 out of 10, and that's considering that it was low budget and made in the 70s. Um, Rating it just as a horror film, how I felt watching it, 2.5 out of 10. I feel bad saying that, but genuinely, like I was beyond bored out of my mind watching that movie.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree. Due for it being an older film and for the budget that it had, I would give it
Yeah.
a good like 6.5 for my rating. And then it just being a horror movie in general and watching it in today's, you know, culture when we have all these other like different styles of horror.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, I'd probably give it like a strong 3 or 4.
Yeah. No, it's not the strongest horror movie. Well, so let's man, I don't know, dude. Let's jump into 2018 Halloween, I think, cuz I have some more to say about that movie too.
We're kind of fed up with 78 at this point, so yeah, we're just gonna jump into 2018.
Yeah.
28.
Well, and like
Oh,
I don't know if you heard. I was talking to Raina while I was putting my pop filter on, but we were talking about Exorcist,
no,
and we
I
were like,
heard
that
it.
movie is still scary. Like, if you watch it today, like there are still parts of it that are scary. There wasn't a single part of Halloween that I actually felt
I
scary.
100% agree with you about the Reagan jump image being scary
Oh my
too.
god, that image still scares
It
me.
still
Yeah, if you jump
does.
scare me with that image, it will still scare me. Like, and that's the thing. Like, that was years before Halloween, which is why I feel like we really didn't have an excuse for not making it scary. I don't know if we classify it as like a thriller, maybe like yeah, maybe it gets some more points, but as a horror movie, no, sorry.
Sorry.
Um, anyways, let's jump into 2018 Halloween, and immediately off the bat, I had a bit of an issue with it. The movie opens with these.
Well, hold on just a second. Let me give a little info about this movie real quick before we dive too deep into your
Before I tear it
criticism.
to
Yeah,
pieces.
let me get some recognition out of this. 2018 Halloween is also a horror crime. It's an hour and 46 minutes. The director is David Gordon Green. Rotten Tomatoes gave it a 79%, and IMDb gave it a 6.5 out of 10. Bam.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
This,
It's
those are
about
those are
right.
better ratings than what it was given for 78. So,
Yeah, I don't know. That's I don't know. That's a fun fact. David Gordon Green was an executive producer on Exorcist Believer, which makes sense because both of those movies were ass. So
oh man, yeah. So 2018 pretty much takes place 40 years later after the events of 1978 in Haddonfield,
mhm.
and yeah, and just Lori's all pretty much fucked up with all this trauma and this weird like, how do you put it? She's like a survivalist now,
Yeah, she's like a doomsday prepper, damn near.
pretty much.
Which how do I put this? I think for Laurie, I actually really liked Laurie's character in this movie.
Oh,
She at least
100%.
had some bit of character. I liked the conflict between her and her family, and in particular, I liked some of the lines that they brought up where they're like, "You chose Michael over your family," and even Laurie comes back and she's like, "Well, she's like, if I had to choose between my daughter staying with me and her being prepared for the horrors of this world, she was like, I'd do it all over again." I really liked that. That was a very interesting dynamic between the two.
Right.
Um, I again, it's a little hard to believe that she would become this hard of a doomsday survivor after the somewhat mild events of 78. But I get it. Like he did kill a couple of her friends and he did try to kill her. Like that would be a very traumatic experience. So yeah, I get it. I'm willing to give them that. Um I don't
I
know.
mean,
The movie opens
Sid.
with
I was gonna add, like,
no, go ahead.
Sydney from Scream didn't become this much of a doomsday survivalist like
Yeah.
was Laurie Strode. And
And she like actually got stabbed and shit, right?
yeah, and like
Yeah. So
she wasn't. I mean, in the second movie, she ran away and had her own house, like off, like, you know, the countryside of L.A. and
mhm.
whatnot. But she wasn't that big of a. I mean, she's been through 10 times worse than Laurie Strode did in
Yeah.
'78. So I just find that kind of funny too. But yeah,
Yeah.
anyways.
Well, so this movie opens and Michael Myers is in prison somehow. This movie 2018 is supposed to be a direct sequel to the original one. It is not, none of the sequels after the original 78 Halloween are canon to the 2018 Halloween. Which if that is the case, how is Michael in prison because Halloween 1 ended with him escaping?
Right.
I won't say more on that because this movie doesn't say more on that, but we start with a relative plot hole. Anyways, we open at this high security prison, a lot of creepy ish shots, and we're introduced to two of the biggest douchebag asshole podcasters of all time. I hated them from moment one. They come in and they're like, "Oh yeah, we just want to talk to him. We just want to shed some light on, like, we just want to get some new perspectives, blah 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 blah." And it's like, I don't know. I'm just a hater this episode, man.
Instead of doing that, they pretty much just tease Michael with his mask and just make him more angry.
Instead of interviewing the psychiatrist who's been studying the case for years, instead of like doing anything productive, they go out into this Squid Games looking courtyard that exists for some reason, and they pull out the mask and they're like, "Talk to me! Tell me what you know!" And like, I don't know.
Where's Rachel?
The funny thing is that a little bit later they're talking about it and they're like, "Oh yeah, like we talked to Michael. There was nothing. There was nothing there. There was nothing going on." And it's like, guys, the entire courtyard damn near exploded. Every other mental inmate started fucking chanting and shaking their shackles, and the dogs were barking, and like, there was obviously a reaction. Like, don't act like that wasn't the spookiest thing you've ever seen. Man, oh man, I'm the biggest hater this episode.
I'm fucking crying right now.
Anyways.
Oh my fucking lord. Okay, continue. I'm sorry.
The same fucking thing that happened in the 78 one happens here, where they're transferring him to another prison and the bus crashes. And so, yeah, he escapes. Cool.
Oh, fuck.
I don't know. One thing that I'm not the biggest fan of with Michael Myers, which I get is his point, is just that he just kills for no reason. And I get that's kind of the point. That's the horror of his character, is like, what do you do with someone who kills indiscriminately and just has, it's just like, I just want to go kill. Like, what do you do with someone
I just want to go kill.
I get that's the point, but at the same time, like, you gotta give me something. Like, you gotta give me some justification for it, and it can't just be that he's evil. I'm sorry, but you gotta give me something.
Well, not
like,
even just Michael
at
wanting
least
to kill. It's just like he's just specifically like targeting Laurie Strode throughout this whole film in a way. It's just like, I need to kill this girl. Like, just like after 40 years later, he's just like, I still need to kill her.
There's that, but like, as soon as he escapes, it's also just inconsistent, his killing, I feel like. As soon as he escapes, he gets to the neighborhood, you know, where he's gonna kill people, and he just walks into a lady's backyard and grabs a hammer and then walks in, kills her, and then goes to her baby's cradle, looks in it, and then just walks away. And it's like, okay, so he does have
some decency,
at least, some sense of morality. Like, he's not willing to kill, and because he was walking around during Halloween and there's kids bumping into him and being like, "Oh, excuse me, mister," like, he's not killing the kids, so clearly he's got some level of morality. He's not just pure evil, which, again, they might not be entirely comparable, but like Art the Clown, for example, would absolutely slaughter some kids and a baby. Like, that's absolutely the point. And so he's someone that I would be like, yeah, this whole monologue that you're giving about him being pure evil would make sense for Art the Clown, but not for Jason, or not, sorry, not Jason, Michael.
Wrong movie.
Who you've just shown me is not willing to kill kids. So he's not pure evil now, is he?
He did kill that one kid in the truck.
Yeah, he did, but that kid had a gun, to be fair.
True.
In Michael's
dumbass
defense,
kid.
the kid was armed. No, but yeah, you're right. He did kill the one kid.
So
but then, like, why not kill the baby? Why not kill the other kids? Why is he kind of like slinking about?
So if the baby was
I
sleeping
don't
with
really
a Glock, do you think Michael Myers would kill him?
The baby was armed. Michael like puts the knife in the baby's crib, and then he's like, "Oh, he's got a knife."
No, fuck!
Nah, Michael's not a cop. He wouldn't do that. Man.
Could you imagine, though, if all those kids on Halloween night were walking around with guns, how much manslaughter there would be?
Yeah. I forgot to mention, Michael does kill the two podcaster people. They stop by and talk to Laurie, and they're fucking dicks about it, and they're like, I don't know. That whole scene just pissed me off because it's like, you people are assholes. Like, you're traumatizing this poor old lady who's very clearly got PTSD. But
I
anyways,
love the scene where
um,
he's next to the bathroom stall and just drops all the teeth in front of her while
I was
she's
just gonna say, yeah. So he tracks the podcast people down and he kills a couple people at this gas station they're at. And the one lady, the podcaster chick, is in the bathroom and he shows up and he starts like opening the doors and shit. And then he drops like a handful of bloody teeth in her stall. That's cool as fuck. That was a really
yeah.
cool fucking scene.
Well, the only reason he's
And
hunting them
even
down is because he wants to get his mask back because they
he
were
wants his mask
fucking
and they've got it.
taunting
Yeah,
him.
they were teasing him with it.
Like, oh, I got your
And I will
mask.
say, that whole sequence in the bathroom I thought was really good.
It was.
It was really it was very grounded, it was very gritty, it was very it wasn't gory per se, but it was still a very scary tense scene. Like there's you don't really get a lot of that from the rest of this movie, I feel like. Anyways, the other podcast guy busts in. He tries to stop Michael. They wrestle for a bit, and he just starts slamming his head into the wall and into the stall doors and shit. And again, very gritty, I guess is the word. It's a scene that's just like, oh fuck, that's kind of hard to watch, which I
The
enjoyed. That was
violence
what I
and the gore
wanted out
in
of
this
this.
movie, I would say, is definitely
A lot
a
better.
lot better
A lot better.
than it was in '78. And it was like just overall, just the violent and gore that they had in this film was really good, in my opinion, too.
Hmm.
Especially jumping back to the scene where he's out in the neighborhood with all everybody, trick or treating and whatnot, and he's going house to house. I love that kind of one shot scene that they do with him just walking around and just killing neighbors.
Tracking him through the house.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
yeah, yeah.
that scene was amazing for me when I first watched it in theaters because I went to go see this in theaters when it came out. And when I was watching that scene, I was like, "Oh my God, this is perfect."
Yeah, no, that was a really cool shot. I liked the tracking shot. Um, I think from a cinematic perspective, the movie was very well
Oh
done. This
yeah.
one in particular. But again, like that scene was just kind of hard for me to get into because it's like, I don't know, like what, why, like why he turns and he looks and he's like, oh, there's a fucking shed. I bet I could get a hammer. And then he's like, well, the door is open. I might as well just go
Just
in
go
and
in.
fucking bash her head in. And again, even in that scene, we don't actually see the kill. It's done off screen, which they do way too often. I'm not a fan of that. Like if you're a horror movie, show me.
Yeah.
Don't I don't know. Yeah, so he starts killing people and the cops figure out they're like, Michael's escaped. He's pure evil. Don't we gotta do something about the pure evil.
Get
And
that son of a
and there's
bitch.
yeah, and there's a Dr. Loomis 2 here. I forget his name, but he's literally just Dr.
Sartain
Loomis 2.
or
Yeah, so, I don't know.
whatever, Doctor
You know
Doctor
what's
Satan.
funny is that I said that when we were watching the movie and they said his name. I was like, that's ominously close to Satan. I bet he betrays someone and turns on Michael's side at the end of the movie. Spoiler, exactly that happens.
Literally.
But we'll get to that. Yeah, so Michael just kind of goes around and kills people for a while. And I will say the pacing of this movie was a lot better. I didn't feel as bored in the minute to minute watching this because there was more going on. Like,
Right.
we got the whole side plot with Lori and her family and the drama that's kind of around that, and like is she justified in pushing her family away in pursuit of safety and protection. And so I enjoyed a lot of that. This movie does kind of suffer from the same issue I had with the first Halloween, where you could cut, I don't know, an hour out of the middle of the movie and you wouldn't really miss anything because nothing happens in the middle of the movie, really. I mean, like, there's some cool scenes of him killing random people, kind of, but aside from, like, the opening parts that establish Michael as a killer and having escaped, and then the actual climax of the movie where he's killing people and Laurie is trying to fight back, not a whole lot that's relevant goes on in the middle of the movie, which does kind of bog it down a little bit, but it wasn't as bad in this one. Like I said, there was stuff to keep the pacing going.
Definitely. I did enjoy a lot of the kills in this movie. For say with the Laurie Strode's granddaughter's friends. Like one in
Yeah.
particular, Oscar, the character Oscar, when he gets caught on the gate and is trying to climb
Yeah, yeah,
over,
yeah.
and
I
just
loved seeing the spike going through his chin.
and also adding to that specific scene, the soundtrack was just so amazing in this movie and their own version of the Halloween theme, especially
Mm.
for that sequence. Oh, I loved the soundtrack during that scene when it's showing
That's a good.
Oscar like pike through the fence, and I was just like, oh, yes.
Yeah. I did really like that scene. The whole like, and I thought the whole bit with the motion sensing lights was really creative because
Mm,
like, yeah, he's not moving, so the lights are gonna go out, and then when he moves, they go out, they go on, and he's in a different spot. It was very like Weeping Angel esque
yeah.
of Michael Myers, which you know me, I love that. But yeah, the kill was really cool. But that's a good idea that you mentioned the soundtrack because I feel very mixed on the soundtrack. This movie, the 18 one, had a very good soundtrack. It was very dark. It was very tonal. They did a good job of um how do I word this? They did a good job of spacing the main theme out,
Yeah.
which I had an issue with in the 78 version because in the 78
It
version,
was.
it felt like every single time they started a new scene, they played the Halloween theme, the main one. They're do 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 do,
Well, not
and it
even
was to the point
that.
where
It's
it
just
was
like,
comical.
yeah, I was gonna say not even that, but they would play the same theme, but in a different key. So just
Yeah,
to
it
try
was
to
the
change it.
exact same. And it was just so often. And the other thing, it's not soundtrack, more sound effects. I thought the sound effects in the 78 one were so funny. Like those old like 70s like like when Michael shows up and stuff. Some of those had me cracking up, which is not what you want from a horror movie, but I enjoyed it, you
Are
know.
you saying that 78 was with their sound effects was worse than Scream 1996 with the scissors?
It was maybe not worse, but it was in that same vein. It was definitely in the same ballpark. Yeah.
um,
I will say for the 2018 one, I did really like the climax. The climax was very action packed. It was very tense. It was very hectic. But again, there were a lot of things that just pulled me out of it because they didn't make sense. Like for example, the climax takes place at Laurie's doomsday bunker, basically, and Michael is there and he's trying to break in, and he gets there and he kills Laurie's son-in-law,
yes.
her daughter's husband. He kills him, right? And he kills him outside of the house, and that's relevant. Michael goes up to the house, and Laurie's like holding the door. She's trying to keep him from getting in, and he breaks through the reinforced windows somehow.
Because Michael's
Anyways,
built different.
he's built different, I guess. So Laurie, for some reason, retreats down into the basement, which I've said this the entire climax of the movie. You have a gun. He is right in front of you. Couple shots to the head. And if we watched Zombieland, rule number 4, double tap, you should be fine. But she retreats to the basement and lets him just open the door and get inside the house, which was a poor decision. About 2
Very.
minutes later, now that he is inside the house, she chooses to leave the basement, which is like covered up and hidden. So like, I don't know. I don't know why she decided to leave the bunker after she let him in, essentially. But she leaves the bunker, so she's going through the house, like clearing rooms, trying to find him and stuff. And she opens the cabinet, and her son-in-law's body is in there, which means the timeline of that was Michael killed him outside, went up to the door, opened the door, and went inside the house. Then he went back outside the house, grabbed the body, brought it inside the house, set it up in the closet, had the mannequins point at the closet to freak Lori out, and then waited by the mannequins, which is way too much.
Can you imagine just
for,
Michael
like,
just running back and forth through the house, like actually running it, just
yeah,
setting up everything
just
like
like,
it's
oh, this
quick.
would be really fucking creepy. I bet she's gonna hate that.
Oh yeah, she'll fucking like this.
Yeah, I don't know, but um, I think tactically they did a lot of things wrong, but they did do a lot of things right that I liked. Like there was a part where Laurie's daughter, what's her name, Karen, she's in the basement and she's pointing a gun towards the staircase, the only entrance into the basement, and she's kind of freaking out. She's like, I can't do this, like, and Michael
Loved that
opens up the
scene.
basement essentially. And she has a breakdown. She's like, I can't do this, Mom. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm freaking out. And Michael steps into frame because he heard that. She screamed it. And even in my head, I was like, why would you tell him that, you stupid bitch? And he steps into frame, and she just 180s, and she's like I forget what she
Gotcha.
says. She says a cool one-liner. Yeah, gotcha, something like that. And she shoots him, and I was like, oh shit, like that was cool as
Yeah,
fuck. Like that was
mind
really
gaming
fucking
the
cool.
killer.
Yeah. I really, that was awesome. I'll be real. That was a really cool scene.
I love the sequence where Lori and him are fighting upstairs in the mannequin room, and then he throws her out the window and she falls, and then takes a double take back to listen to Karen and Allison, screaming in the hidden bunker, and then looks back, and then Laurie Strode has like disappeared and pulled like a whole Michael Meyer move on
Yeah.
him, and he's like, huh?
He's like, so that's what that feels like.
Yeah, literally. And then that scene that you were talking about with Karen mind gaming Michael and shooting him, and then Lori just peering through the shadows of the cupboard and just being like, "Happy Halloween, Michael." I was like, "Ah!" I'm like, "Yes!"
It's very cool. Yeah. I liked that. I did like that. It was very cool. Yeah, no, exactly. And so he charges into the basement and tries to, stab them and whatnot. And they effectively fight their way out of the basement, and they had like a trap, so they like sealed the basement with him in there. And she turns on like these gas pipes that she had everywhere in the house, and so gas is leaking in every room. And then she throws a match into the basement, and the basement lights up, and Michael allegedly burns to death. But there's 4 more movies after this, so it didn't. But anyways, I have a this is very nitpicky. But she turns on the gas, right? And we see all these different pipes blowing gas into different rooms, which means the gas is being blown outward from the pipes, right? So if she throws a match into the basement, it's going to ignite the gas in the basement. But the gas is being pumped out from the pipe, right?
Yeah.
So wouldn't that mean that the fire would stay contained in the basement? It'd be like the fire going upstream from the gas, which I guess is possible, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I felt like it looked like it was pumping the gas at a pretty decent pace. So I don't know. I'm not a chemist.
I
could
mean,
be wrong
enough
on that,
gas-
but I was like, I don't know that the whole house would burn.
I mean, enough gas to fill every room in part of the house, then yeah, if there is some like flame ignite, I can kind of see.
Okay,
But
well then if that's the case, maybe let's step outside the house and throw a match in instead
Right.
of staying in the kitchen and igniting the house.
well, I mean, it's just
Um,
Lori just wanting to see just what the clarification of him burning.
well, she didn't do a very good job about that.
But
Nor
yeah,
did she?
no, I did admire the fight that her and Lori and him, Michael, had in the last act. It was very good.
Yeah, I agree.
And just all of that, just that whole sequence was just very well played. I do want to jump back to a couple other things with this movie, with more of the kills. With was it the girl that was babysitting that one kid, and with the
Yeah.
boyfriend? Those were pretty good, and that little kid had me laughing the whole time in the theater. He was like, "Oh shit!"
Dude, I said that to Raina when we were watching that scene with her and the kid and their back and forth. I was like, I just want another hour of this. They are so fucking funny, and she's like, we're gonna go do some of that like alakazam, and he's like, you're gonna go smoke weed with your friends, and she's like, no, and she's like, well, you want me to show your mom your browser history, and he's just like, okay, but like, I don't know, I loved their dynamic. They were funny as hell. I thoroughly enjoyed that whole sequence.
Yeah, no, and then same with the kill with the boyfriend being, stabbed on the wall there.
Yeah, kind of an homage to that other boyfriend kill.
Yeah, no, that
in
was
the
that was
78 one.
cool. Yeah, no, that little kid had me laughing because he was like the realest character in that movie. He's like, "Y'all are
He
gonna
was
fucking
so
die."
real. He was like, there's a guy in my closet, and she's like, there's no guy in your closet. And he's like, no, bitch, like there's a guy. I'm not fucking with you right now. Like,
Literally, he's like running out. And he's like, all of you are gonna die.
I'm not joking. I know I'm 8, but like,
That kid was as
Oh
real as it
man,
could get in a horror movie.
he was yeah.
But
It was like same dude. Like honestly.
yeah, that, and then we also need to jump back to this like CB plot with this Dr. Satan guy. That was just
Oh yeah,
redonkulous.
he kind of like. So what's his name? The cop. There's this cop who has like a D plot that I'm not even
Oh,
gonna
Frank
justify getting
Hawkins.
into
It's
here.
supposed to be the cop
Um,
from the original film, but not the same original
yeah,
actor, but it's the same, character.
yeah. The same character who did fuck all in the original movie, which again, another faithful adaptation. He did fuck all in the first one. He did fuck all here. Like, what can I say? Um, anyways, he picks up Laurie's granddaughter and he's like bringing her to them, and he has the Dr. Satan guy. That's his name now,
Dr.
Dr. Satan.
Satan.
He has the Dr. Satan guy in the passenger seat. And they see Michael, which is like super convenient. But anyways, they see Michael, and he's just like he just guns it. He's just like I'm gonna kill him. Like I
Just
don't give a fuck.
runs him over.
He fucking hits him, and yeah, runs him over. And he gets out, and I was so proud of him for this. He's like the Dr. Satan guy's like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "I'm gonna put a bullet in his brain." Like he looks dead, but like you know. And I was like, "Yes, Zombieland, Rule 4, double tap, thank you." And fucking. And Dr. Satan pulls out a fucking assassin's pen. Which, like, why the fuck do you have an assassin's pen? You're a psychiatrist. But anyways, he pulls out an assassin pen and stabs the doctor in the neck.
Or stabs the
And
cop in the
loads
neck.
Michael.
Yeah.
Yeah, stabs the cop in the neck, sorry. And loads Michael in the back of the cop car with Laurie's granddaughter. And here's another issue I have with Michael, is he wakes up in the back of the cop car with a prime blonde teenage girl right next to him, like his prime demographic for murder. And instead he chooses to bash through the fucking cage in the back of a cop car to kill the Dr. Satan guy. And then he just kind of gets out and lets her escape. Which I'm just like, I don't know, man. Like, if I were Michael, right, and killing brought me joy, like, if assuming that killing is my favorite thing to do, like, I would turn and be like, oh, she's fucking helpless. Quick snap her neck and then bust through the gate and
Right.
kill the guy. It's 2 in 1. Like I don't. He's just inconsistent, which I don't appreciate.
Well, I mean,
Um,
I try to understand the plot that they were trying to go for this character, this doctor guy, and just him just being completely sideways and just pulls a 180 on just wanting just to be, I guess, evil and just wanting to know more of the mind of Michael and just
yeah,
being him and just being in his shoes, but it didn't work out
and I don't
well.
even blame. I don't even blame the doctor. I thought his motives worked well. Especially because when he kills the cop, he has that line where he's like, "Oh, so," or earlier in the film, he's like, "I want to know what Michael feels. I want to know what evil feels like." And then he kills the cop later in the film, and he goes, "Oh, so that's what that feels like." And so I was like, "Oh, I kinda get it. Like he's
Yeah.
still trying to get into Michael's head, like, and this is kind of part of that." But I'm talking about Michael's motives. Like it just doesn't make sense. I don't
Well,
know.
and then
Maybe I'm looking into
as
it
for
too
this
hard.
big plan that he wanted to have this feeling of wanting to know Michael and just turning evil and just trying to be this get into like being Michael Myers and just being in his shoes. It didn't last too long. It was only like 5 minutes. He's like, "Yes, now I have the upper hand, and now I have Michael, and I'm
Yes.
gonna study
Yeah.
him," and just gets fucking his shit rocked and
Like he just
stomped.
he just didn't he just didn't consider that Laurie's granddaughter had plot armor and he didn't. Like I don't know why he didn't think about that.
Should have just kept wearing that
But
mask.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know, man. I would say for Halloween 2018, I would give it a good 7 out of 10. I think that's
I'll give it like
fair.
a
I would give it a
six
7.
point
7.
five, like seven point
Yeah.
one. It's
7.1.
7.1. Um, yeah, no, it definitely did justice for it being just a direct sequel after the 78,
Mhm.
and it was a good version of a newer Halloween. I
Yeah.
liked it a
Well,
lot, but there was just
it's like I texted you after I finished the 2018 one. If the 78 one was boring as shit and mid as fuck, then this was a very faithful sequel to that.
yeah,
It
definitely.
was, it was better, but still not I don't know, not great. You know, you kind of think of Halloween as being up there in the horror classics, right? Like when you ask people to list off like their favorite horror franchises, you know, you get your typical answers: Texas Chainsaw, Exorcist, Alien, maybe, but Halloween is always considered up there, right?
Yeah.
And I just don't get that. I'm sorry. You fire me if you want to, Justin, but
I mean, no, I
I'm
mean,
standing
I
firm.
understand. I'm not going to shit on you about it because I wasn't too big in the Halloween series. The only Halloween movies that I actually liked and got into was the Rob Zombie versions. But
I was gonna say I do want to watch those because I've heard those are very different.
they are because the plot with the Rob Zombie one is pretty much they give more context of Michael Myers being like in like his younger years, and we get to see more
Mm-hmm.
backstory about that. It's like an extra like 30 to 40-minute backstory of young Michael Myers before he becomes what he is. And like we get to see
Yeah,
more of the killings and whatnot. And that movie's more brutal with their killings, like I would say for Rob Zombie's Halloween. But yeah, and
I'm
then
gonna have to watch that one because that's what I wanted out of this.
yeah. But their story is I think Rob Zombie the only thing differently he did is that the sister he kills is not Judith, and he has a younger sister named Judith, and she ends up being with an adopted family when she's older, and then Michael stalks her in like later the years. So like Judith,
Is am I mistaken, or is that the one where they reveal that like Lori is his sister or something?
I think that's Halloween 2 where they reveal that.
Is
Halloween
that?
2 or like some of the later earlier like original films where they introduce that like that's his
I
sister.
see.
But they disregard like in the
Yeah,
2018 they disregarded all of that and just stuck with just the 78 version and just made it a
yeah, you're
sequel
right.
after that.
You're right. I just looked it up. Yeah, it was revealed in the like original Halloween sequels that Laurie is Michael's sister,
Yeah.
but because this 2018 one disregards the sequels, yeah, she's not.
Yeah, pretty much. So, but yeah, no, the Rob Zombie ones are pretty cool. I wasn't too big on the second one. The second one was kind of just out of pocket and it was kind of confusing, but it was decent.
Doesn't the second one have to do with like gods and like
Yeah, it was
witchcraft
weird.
and
It was so weird.
yeah.
Like I don't know where Rob Zombie was going with it, and it wasn't the best Halloween sequel for his first one. But I did like the first Rob Zombie Halloween. It was good.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, I just want to apologize on behalf of me and Alex for any fans who are big on Halloween and enjoy classic
Yeah.
movies. That we've shitted so much on the classic and
If this is a yeah, if this is a shit take, please write us hate mail, death threats, you know, the whole 9 yards.
please stalk our houses.
Yeah. Stab me if you really disagree with me that hard. I probably deserve it.
Well, I'm not
But
gonna go that far because I wasn't shitting on it too much, so that's all you, baby.
I deserve it.
But yeah, no, both Halloween films, definitely the 2018 one gave it a little justice, but I mean, it was still. I admit that the 2018 one was good. Everything after 2018, like kills and ends, was complete garbage. Those movies sucked.
I've heard those were bad. I've heard those were bad from other
Yeah,
people, so I haven't even given them
Halloween
thought.
Kills, like
I would
it
say
started good and it was strong for like a little bit, and then it just collapsed. And then Halloween Ends was
mm,
just a fucking nightmare.
I heard Halloween Ends in particular was really bad.
It
Yeah.
was terrible. I never hated a movie
I
so fucking much than Halloween Ends.
just actively offensive to you.
Literally, it just did no just justice or duty to like the Halloween like films like that they were trying to create, and I'm just like, oh, what the fuck is like Laurie in Halloween Kills was barely in it. She was in the hospital the whole fucking movie.
That's so fucking funny. That's terrible. Oh my
And
goodness.
then they
Yeah,
tried to do
I'm
like this
actually
whole
kind
like
of
side plot on Halloween Ends and bringing in this new killer or character who's trying to be like Michael's apprentice. I don't know. It just was garbage. It was ass.
yeah.
But yeah, anyways. Uh Now you're getting me all
We
mad.
had some really yeah, we came in with some really hot takes on this one.
God, fuck you, Michael Myers.
Oh man. No, that's the thing. Is like I'm curious to see what those movies are like. But if I did watch them, like I'd want to watch them on like 2 times speed, I feel like. You know what I mean?
just just go on YouTube and just watch
With
1 minute movie
with like
review.
some with like some Subway surfers on the side or something, you know?
Ew, no. That'd be disgusting.
Oh man.
But yeah,
No, but yeah, I don't know. I'd Halloween 1978, I would say boring as shit, overrated as fuck. 2018, it was all right, bordering on good, but all right is how I would classify it. Like it
yeah.
wasn't terrible. It was fun at times, but
I want,
there's better shit
like,
out there.
part of me just, I want to love the 1978 Halloween because I'm
Yeah,
big on classics. I love classic horror. I want to love this movie, but it made me fucking fall asleep, Alex.
yeah, that's not good.
It's not, and
And
I'm just sad.
yeah. No, I agree. I don't want to hate it. Like I did want to like it. That's the thing is like I wouldn't feel I wouldn't feel so passionately about it if there wasn't potential, right? Like if I didn't see something that could have been really cool. But unfortunately, man, it's just boring,
I'm
I
not
feel like.
mad, I'm disappointed.
Yeah, that's ultimately how I feel is I'm just like you it could have been better. It could have been a lot better, guys.
I just don't know how they, I mean, I want to love Halloween just as a franchise in general, but how could you fuck up a franchise so badly, in my opinion? Because, like, Friday the 13th, like, that franchise, you know, pretty decent franchise. What, Nightmare on Elm Street, pretty good, decent franchise. Scream,
Yeah.
fucking phenomenal. Saw was good,
Pretty good.
and then
Pretty good.
dove down and then got good again. But
Well, I feel like all horror franchises have that where it's like they start really strong, their first couple of movies are really good, but as they continue, they get progressively worse, which I feel like is just common for horror.
but with
Whereas here with Halloween, I feel
yeah,
like we just started out with shit.
yeah, it's just like with the Halloween franchise, you just start off really boring and then just end up being like complete dog shit.
Continue being
It's
boring.
I just feel like the only movies out of the Halloween franchise that were actually good was the first Rob Zombie one and then the 2018 one.
Mm.
And I would put 78 at third, but everything else after like the original one with the Halloween 2, uh Season of the Witch, H2O, like fuck those. And then the newer ones after 2018, absolutely fuck those.
Yeah.
I just
I feel like I've had more fun with parodies of Halloween. With like, those parodies where they show Michael as being slow and incompetent and stupid and like a bad killer because that's how it felt watching this. Like it really did feel like as far as serial killers and horror antagonists go, that he was just bad. He was just bad at his job. Like I don't know. He kind of reminds me of Voldemort, if that makes sense. Cause like Voldemort as a villain, like when you think about it, his main goal was to take over a fucking high school, and he couldn't even do that. And that's how I feel with Michael Myers, where it's like you were meant your main goal was to kill what 4 babysitters, and you could only do 3. Like, I'm sorry, dude, but there are real world people who exceed on the villain scale, or
exactly.
who excel at the villain scale than you.
Trust me,
So I don't know.
I love Michael Myers as a movie killer. I think he's pretty badass, but
I like the idea
the
of him.
idea, yeah, exactly. I love the idea of Michael. I think he's a badass serial killer, but I wish they would have done him better in his actual fucking movies.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
to close this
I think
chapter,
that's yeah.
Halloween
I'm getting
1978.
sweaty from this.
I know. It's getting hot in here. Halloween
I feel like I ran a
1978
mile.
and Halloween 2018. We're sorry, viewers. I don't think this was the Halloween special that you expected. Maybe it was, but um, we hope we brought a little light into your day.
A little bit of yeah.
um,
Anyways, thank you guys for tuning in on Halloween. We really appreciate it.
yeah, and like I said, by the time you're probably listening to this, it'll already be around Halloween time. So,
Mhm.
me and Alex wish you a very, very happy and spooky Halloween. Also, share some feedback on this episode and also on YouTube because there's a comment section.
Leave some comments. Yeah,
Yeah, throw us
yell
some
at us,
comments,
please.
yell at us, tell us what you're gonna be for Halloween, and yeah, for more episodes, listen to us on Spotify and YouTube, and then for more updates about our podcasts, find us on Facebook at Terrorvision with Justin and Alex, and Instagram at Terrorvision Podcasts. This wasn't a Halloween special that I expected, but I think we
I enjoyed it. I mean,
I
as
think
much as we've
we
been
enjoyed it. I don't know if
negative
others.
Nellies, I enjoyed it.
I don't know if some other viewers will enjoy it. Who knows? Maybe our viewers just love hearing us shit talk about movies. Well, you never know, but
If there's one thing I enjoy doing, it's shit talking and hating things.
that's why I have you as a
I'm
co-host.
I'm God's biggest hater.
That's why I asked Alex to do a podcast with me. I was like, I need beef to be stirred. I need
Beef.
beef. Beef. I need the tea to be spilled. Alex, I need you to bring flavor into this podcast. And happy Halloween, everybody. We hope you
Happy
enjoyed our
Halloween,
Halloween
everyone.
special. And hopefully, next episode, we will be doing our 1 year anniversary of Terrorvision.
No
Woo!
promises, but we're gonna try.
We're no promises, yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully, that's why I threw in hopefully, but yeah.
Hopefully, that's the plan. That's the plan.
But yeah, tune in next time. I'm Justin,
And I'm Alex,
and
guys.
this is Terrorvision with Justin and Alex. Happy Halloween! Boo!
Happy Halloween!
The
Woo!
Monster Mash.
Don't even get me started on the Monster Mash again. I will talk for another 20 minutes about that.